I'm Carolyn McKenzie, and here we are taking stock of another year. And what better way to end 2024 than with a boost? Tonight, we are focusing on some of the events and people that brought joy and inspiration to Canadians this year. And we asked our team of journalists across the country about the moments that spoke to them. And what stood out time and time again is a musical icon whose brightly shining star rallied the troops. She dazzled tens of thousands of Swifties at sold-out shows in Vancouver and Toronto. And that's where we begin our look back tonight with Global's Karen Lieberman.
This was an assignment like no other because Taylor Swift is an artist like no other. Her fans, known as Swifties, are really quite unique. Now, we knew the Eras Tour was coming to Canada. We knew it would be the event of the year, but I'm not sure I personally could have predicted just how these 6 shows would take Toronto and then Vancouver by storm. What are you most excited about today?
Just to go to the concert and experience it.
We're gonna scream, we're gonna cry, we're gonna live the best day of our life.
What do you think about Taylor Swift's message?
I think she's really empowering for young girls. I think she always puts out a really great example. She's just a great role model all around.
I want to be fearless and curl my hair really tight, so I got her fearless dress.
She's having the time of her life.
Swifties are special. They're fun, they're polite. Now, we do cover a lot of major events with huge crowds. It's part of the job. It could be a sporting event, it could be a rally, a protest, and sometimes people can get rowdy, they can get rambunctious. This group of fans, they were loud and they were energetic, but they were also kind and happy, and they were just oozing positivity. I'm told by the Swifties that these are all the traits that Taylor Swift stands for.
I'm a new Swiftie. I'm starting to get into it. All my friends are Swifties. Music teacher, very big Swiftie.
You're feeling it. Yeah. What do you think about Taylor Swift as a role model for girls like your daughter?
I think she's doing a great job. Yeah, she's really promoting a positive attitude and change and acceptance.
Global's Sean O'Shea is outside the Rogers Centre tonight. I wish I was there. Anthony and I are not so lucky. And Sean, it looks like the Swifties delivered.
Karen, of course they did. This is enthusiastic, happy, and I got to tell you, covering sporting events and various events over the years, one of the most polite crowds.
People were just so joyful. I couldn't believe the day we were down for the second round of the shows, how enthusiastic people were. It was moms with their daughters. It was young women with other young women and dads with daughters.
It's created such a great community, and everyone has this hypeness I hope is going to be taken forward, especially going into the holiday season.
She brings just so much joy and happiness.
Not every story we told about the Eras Tour was overwhelmingly positive. Imagine thousands upon thousands of people were just clamoring for these last-minute tickets. And so, sadly, there were many who got scammed. And that's pretty crushing to report on, especially when you know just how desperate these fans were to catch a glimpse of their favorite singer.
Let me tell you about the person who I think maybe paid the most. We found this woman from Houston, Texas, and she had brought a neighbor and the neighbor's daughter from Houston to Toronto to go to the show.
We paid, yes, in excess of 20 grand.
$20,000. And on top of that, it wasn't just one set of tickets.
You got scammed.
2 times.
We interviewed her and her neighbor and the daughter.
Now we're here and I'm really happy about it.
I just hope they got to go and that they didn't get scammed a third time.
I think it is a little nuts, but I wanted to bring my girls because I don't know when they'll get this again, so it'll be memorable for them.
We play rock music, so Taylor Swift does not play on our station.
Have you ever had a song in your head and you just can't shake it?
But the bosses here knew what a draw she is, so we decided to have a contest where you could choose to go to Mexico City to see Green Day, or you could be in a draw to win Taylor Swift tickets here in Toronto. And what was impressive was that both draws filled up with people. So really, even on a rock music station, the draw of Taylor Swift is still pretty huge.
I think that her music really helped me when I was just in some rough times.
I got bullied a lot last year and she just brought me up a lot.
Is there a particular song that you would listen to?
All of them.
What do you think you're going to do when you actually see her get out on that stage tonight?
Cry.
Yeah. 100% cry. You've got your bracelets as well. I got to ask you, what is your favorite era?
I would say Speak Now, because that was the last time my sister and I saw Taylor with my mom, who actually passed away earlier this year.
You get approached by so many different people, people from all over, people from all walks of life. You guys came all the way from?
Erie, Pennsylvania.
Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Kindersley, Saskatchewan.
And they are all united by their mutual love and adoration of this artist. But I also found that I knew more lyrics than I even realized.
Now, I do want to step back on here because I did make you guys a promise, and that was to get you a friendship bracelet. I got one, okay? So let's try.
Okay. We've covered the Raptors, we've covered everybody in that vicinity, mostly sports teams, but then being able to get down there, it was just this feeling of peace and unity, and you were getting friendship bracelets left, right, and center.
There's still some more trading left to go. I wish you the best time.
You guys, look at that, Phil!
People compare it to Beatles mania, that it drives that kind of hysteria with her fans.
But in a very supportive, controlled, like respectful environment. Like I've been outside of Rogers Center for a lot of shows. I don't think I've seen a lineup of people being so respectful in all my life.
Flew all the way here.
From California also, we're cousins.
Yeah, having a cousin weekend.
A Swiftie weekend.
A Swiftie weekend, of course.
Yeah. It has been a little bit rainy throughout the day, but that hasn't been stopping anyone because we're just shaking things off.
Scored some pretty good seats in the lower bowl. You don't even want to know how much we spent.
I do want to know, can I ask?
Sure, I think it was about $2,700 a ticket.
We didn't get to get tickets because they were too expensive, but when we came outside the stadium, we got to
meet lots of other
so
Swifties,
many, and
it was really fun.
And it was so fun.
I could relate to many of the Swifties who attended the big tailgate event but didn't manage to get tickets. I couldn't either, but just being in that environment was really quite fulfilling, and meeting all these lovely people, it was a privilege.
It's a rare moment when tens of millions of people all stop and look up at the same thing and are mesmerized.
We knew it was coming. We knew where the path was going to be. The big question was, could you see it?
The day of, there was just a buzz in the newsroom. Everyone was so excited because a lot of us hadn't actually seen a total solar eclipse before.
And all the scientists will tell you, and all the people who've experienced it will tell you, 95% eclipse is one thing, 99% is another, but there's nothing like being in totality because it is just such a different effect.
Next, Eric Sorensen moonlights as an eclipse chaser for a day, road tripping from Toronto to Cornwall to experience this extraordinary event.
So we're in the zone of totality. It's still overcast. Stupid clouds.
We stopped in at a couple of the en routes along the way. I thought, well, maybe we'll find some people that are doing what we're doing. Sure enough, there were lots of people that were leaving Toronto or leaving areas where they couldn't see it and searching for the eclipse. It was this, this kind of treasure hunt.
We're gonna go to Kingston, but we're checking the cloud data.
We were in Niagara Falls and it wasn't looking good. The clouds were hanging tough. There were thousands that were out wanting to see this great wonder with another great wonder, which is the falls. So we left Niagara Falls and we started to make our way to where on satellite and on modeling was a higher likelihood of it being clear.
We just started driving up the coast and we were literally looking up at the clouds to see where they were going to kind of break and at what time they would break.
We were so lucky in New Brunswick. There was barely a cloud in the sky. So myself and my camera person, Reynold, and all the other people who had gathered there really had what I would argue would be kind of one of the best views in Canada for this event.
What exactly happens to your eyes if you look up during a solar eclipse? And how will you know if you've been affected?
We wanted to make sure that our national audience was equipped with all the right information, and that really came down to how do you watch the eclipse safely and how do you get those safety features. The other part of that was figuring out that information for ourselves so that we could go out into the field armed with that information so that our crews were safe while covering the eclipse.
When something of this magnitude is taking place, it's all hands on deck because it is such a fast-moving, fast-paced story, multi-market, multi-location. It's the producers, the chase producers, the writers, the directors, making sure that we have the right shots up.
We obviously have to aim straight up into the sky, which is a bit of an issue, and we were on like a rocky shoal on a beach, and we set it up, and I had I believe it was 100,000 ND filter on this thing, so it was essentially like a pair of glasses.
It was looking like a lunar letdown, too much cloud cover to see anything. But there it is, making a brief appearance through the clouds, a total eclipse.
I wasn't expecting the full body feeling of, wow, this is incredible.
Woo! As soon as I saw it, it looked exactly like a 360 sunset all the way around you. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life.
It's like a surreal painting. You'd expect Magritte or Dali to come up with something like this, where the sky looks like this, and then you've cut a hole in it, and there it is, this blackness with this little bright rim around it.
We looked up, and it was the cloudiest day ever. And so there was a bit of a letdown effect in Toronto, but I know for a few brief moments, some of my colleagues were able to look up and see some really stunning images.
It brought an excitement and a togetherness in the newsroom. And it wasn't just us in this newsroom, it was across Canada.
I think it's magnificent that occasionally something happens where everybody goes, hey, let's all stop and look up.
Like you just felt kind of that kind of communal emotion of awe and wonder. And that's something you don't get to experience a lot when you're out in the field doing news coverage, especially something that's so universal.
Yeah, people will, for years down the road, be, where were you on April 8th, 2024? And seeing that with a group of people like-minded who just are excited to witness something special. And that was just a really fun experience.
It is one of those stories where you had a chance to do something in your job that you realize, the privilege it is sometimes to do the work we do. You sometimes get an opportunity to see people or go places that you might not have a chance to. And in this case, had a chance to go and see a total eclipse of the sun, and it was absolutely worth it.
I do think it will stand out in my mind as one of the positive news stories that I've covered in my career, which is a good thing.
One of the things we're proud of at Global Montreal is building connections with the people in the communities we cover. One of them stands out this year, Eddie Nolan. Our team has known and followed the Montreal marathoner and former school caretaker for decades. He had made it one of his life's missions to carry on Terry Fox's legacy of fundraising for cancer research. Earlier this year, when his health deteriorated after complications from cancer treatments, he chose to end his life on his own terms with a tribute to Terry. We were there with him in the days before he crossed his final finish line.
Holy God.
Eddie Nolan has been front and center of our Terry Fox coverage for years. We often caught up with him during a run or at Roslyn Elementary School, where he would share Terry's story with the next generation. For 43 years, he ran a marathon in honor of his hero. But this year was different. April was the first time we met with Eddie at his home. Eddie was really emotional that day, and we were as well. I remember tearing up during our interview and then trying to hold back tears and hearing right next to me behind my shoulder my colleague and cameraman Sylvain sniffling and silently crying as well. It was really difficult. The day before Eddie was admitted to hospital, we sat down for his final interview with Mary Silvaggio, his wife and running partner of 29 years, by his side.
This is why. When it's going to happen, I'm going to smile. I'm going to smile. Because my life was good.
And this is so precious, this one here.
Mary was devastated about Eddie's decision to end his life and had hoped he would change his mind until the very end. Still, she respected his dying wish.
Struggling through it, but I try not to think about that. Right. I had to come to terms because this is what he wanted, and the hardest thing for me to do was be there, go through it with them.
You're amazing, Eddie. We love you.
Today, in a touching tribute, the local legend and former marathon made his last lap around the hospital floor at the Glen.
On Friday, April 12th, Eddie ran one last time in the halls of the Royal Victoria Hospital. He requested medical assistance in dying on the 12th as a final salute to his hero, the same day Terry started his marathon of hope.
At that moment, when we finished our little jog there, I said, Ed, how do you carry that flag? And so he says, puts his head down, and then looks at me and he says, I'm not carrying that flag, it's the flag that's carrying me.
Before Eddie passed, he was determined to hand over his beloved Terry Fox flag. He gave it to Lily Maheu, a former Terry Fox Elementary student who had witnessed many of his talks and was inspired by his journey.
He also wrote on the flag when he gave it to me a little message. He said, to my friend Lily, keep going on with Terry's dream. And yeah, that meant a lot to me, but I think we'll remember him with the flag, but also keep going what he did.
When playoffs come around, every Edmontonian becomes a fan of the Oilers and something just sparks within them.
That was kind of unique to living in Edmonton, is that even if you are not following the team, during the regular season, once the playoffs start, we've all got our orange and blue on.
Why would I want to stay at home if I can come down here with thousands of fans? It's amazing.
It just feels so good to be around everyone and all the emotions of everyone being so excited.
For the third straight season, the Edmonton Oilers have eliminated the Los Angeles Kings in the first round of the playoffs.
The team going so far, it really allowed for people to develop their character. Mama Stanley always has a smile on her face, and she's just happy to help represent and push her team forward.
We really wanted to know a little bit more about the work that goes into painting your entire face and getting yourself all in your silver adornment.
The little kids just love me, and so I've got to meet lots of people, and I know I bring joy and happiness.
Denson Skinner, he was the embodiment of rural Alberta, right? Just bringing in that dance culture into the moss pit.
Honestly, I just feel really honored, people coming up and recognizing me just because of a little bit of almost fame from dancing.
They started taking pictures with each other, but those fans that really made a difference at the fan park and at the Ice District Plaza even gained a couple fans of their own.
People had never felt more connected, and that, I think, was really something special to see kind of grow and develop throughout the whole Stanley Cup playoff run.
There's more than just hockey. It's a community of people that are getting together for just a like-minded event, and everyone just thrives.
So we had been on this lengthy playoff journey, and the hype was starting to build, and everyone was wondering, oh my gosh, do the Oilers have a chance at winning this thing?
The city's gonna be buzzing, that's for sure.
Oilers 7, baby!
Stressful for my entire family to watch the Oilers go losing and then winning and then losing.
The Edmonton Oilers attempt at a historic comeback in a 6th Stanley Cup in franchise history, coming one game short.
It was just heartbreaking.
People were fully crying because it was so emotional, and they had put so much of their summer and just their life into this Stanley Cup playoff run.
You don't always get to have that melting pot of people coming together, so I think it's just special.
I thought maybe one day I'd had dreams of covering something like this, but getting to cover it and going all the way to the Stanley Cup final was something really exciting.
And that's our look at some of the uplifting stories we covered in 2024. Here's to a new year filled with many more. We leave you tonight with some of the sparkle of the season as we take in light displays from across the country. I'm Carolyn McKenzie, wishing you a happy holiday from me and everyone here at Global News.
It's Christmas Day.
Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. A Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas.